most businesses, like I love Dave Ramsey. If you need to learn about, I'm sure he's got bread. He's got more bread than me. I'm sure he knows a lot more than me on a lot of things. But looking at all the major companies in the world, 90% of them have debt. 90% of them will have, I'm talking about your Walmarts, your AT&Ts. There's crazy amounts, like $5 billion worth of debt. Why? Because it's part of the economy. Like, you're supposed to use debt.
Yeah. It's a thing called good debt and bad debt.
Right. And if you using debt to make more money, that's good debt.
Yeah. People, like, oh, I want to be, no one successful. Dave, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, because Dave is, I love Dave. I love his techniques, but there's certain things that I just don't agree with him on. Oh, don't use no credit cards. It's like, bro, I just got $1 million worth of cards with credit cards.
Right. I'm not listening to you.
Yeah, I'm not listening to that.
If you want to be very safe, if you think what Dave is teaching is good for you. But if you want to be entrepreneurial, debt gives you a number one thing: access to capital. What have you always heard? It takes money to make money.
It's like, we can keep the knowledge to ourselves. And I mean, I know people like that. Like, oh, I'm just, I'm stingy when it comes to the knowledge.
Yeah, I used to be like that. I feel
exactly.
like I used to be like, I don't really want to tell you what I'm doing.
But then it's like, but why though?
Yeah. I'm thinking them wealthy thoughts, baby. Everything about you. What's up, everybody? We're back. It's the joint session. I'm StephenMotivate. You can find me on all social platforms with my co-host, my friend. I am Steve James with the Dream Big University. And okay, y'all, this is it. Today, we running into the plays. We've been talking about mindset. We've been giving you the game on the type of mind you need to have to make the money moves. But now let's get deep into the money moves. Like, what do I need to do? What can I do to really rock into it? So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, I'm going to introduce myself. Again, I'm StephenMotivate. You know me from the 17-car fleet on Turo. You know me from the Diamond Shine cleaner products you can find on Lowe's.com, Amazon.com, all over. You know me from the StephenMotivate profile. You know me from my Stephen A. consulting business, helping businesses go and grow further and faster. And so that's a little bit about me. I'm happy to be your mentor, your friend, and your coach. Talk to him, Steve.
Yo, this is Steve, man. I'm excited for this one, man, because a lot of people, they want them questions when it comes to their financials. Financial freedom and, just how to get on the right track. So, Stephen, I am Steve James, Dream Big University. We're talking credit, we're talking Airbnb, we're talking Turo. We're getting into it today. So it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be a good one.
For sure.
Okay, so you kicked it off. You started it off with the Turo, not the Turo, the credit. But how did we get to the Turo? We used the credit. So a lot of people have trouble with credit. Like, if you in the community that we come from, a lot of people are like, just don't know about credit, don't understand it. They may have had stuff in their name when they was 2 years old. But I've known you, Steve, and I've known that you I don't know what it is. Even back in college, I think you paid your bills on time or something, but you've had good credit. Tell me, who introduced you to the concept of credit? And then how did you take it further and how you've been able to leverage it since then?
So, my parents, my parents put me on credit, how not to mess up my credit. So
shout out mom and dad.
For sure. It was really one of those things where it's like, get your credit card, establish your credit. And I just always paid my bills on time. So that was the biggest thing. And I just utilized having credit.
That's a slight flex. I always pay my bills on time.
Yeah. So, I mean, because that's important. You know, the banks want to know that you can pay your bills and they'll give you the money. They just want to know what's your history like. You know what I mean? So I can literally look on my credit. Only one time have I had a missed payment, like a 30-day late. And that was when I started the cars. And my payment was rejected and I didn't know. This is when I first started. So I got all the cars, it got rejected and it hit my credit. So literally exceptional, one miss. And which it doesn't, like when your credit is good, those type of things really don't affect you as much.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's different. Like when you have, if you have a 600 credit score, you miss a payment, that's going to affect you. But when you've shown that established, credit history, those type of inquiries and that type of stuff, it doesn't hurt you as much as having a lower credit.
Right.
But back to, how I got into credit was literally my parents just telling me, pay your bills on time. You know what I mean? Getting stuff in my name. That was the biggest thing. Like when I first got my car, my first car was a cash car, but then I didn't have no credit. So, I was getting the cosign from my parents and everything. And it's just like, okay, well, in order for me to establish my credit, I have to get something in my name. So then I leased my first vehicle.
Okay.
And that was
over 10.
Yeah, that was over 10
years ago.
Yeah, it's been a minute. So, but ever since then, I paid my bills on time. My debt to income ratio was, you didn't have no debt at that time,
right.
Your student loans. I paid my student loans off. That was a huge burden.
Big
lifted.
Flex. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you was focused on like, I'm going to pay these joints.
Yeah. And I mean, when I graduated, I had debt. So I had loans, but, I would defer them just depending on the situation. But over time, I just, I really focused on chipping down at the loans. I deferred them when I could. I played the game right when it came to that. It was just like, oh, I can defer them. Cool. I'm not about to pay it right now. I'm paying the minimum. Because it's just what loans, most people won't never pay off their loans.
Yeah. True.
You know what I mean? And that's just the sad reality. Now, we have Biden that's doing the 10K,
the 10K
forgiveness, but it's like, all right, what about the people that paid them off? Do we get a
You don't get nothing. I'm happy about that, Biden. Thank you, Biden.
Yeah, but
something good.
No, but that's good though, for, people that really need that their assistance with it, cuz student loans, man, it's a huge thing, and everybody's, it's a lot of people that are affected by that.
But you feel a little way about it.
I mean, I really don't, because I paid my loan. I paid it off it's been, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, 7 years ago when I paid mine off. So, it is what it is. Throw me another stipend or something to make up for it.
Right. Everybody who paid them off, y'all get a little bonus too.
Yeah, so I just, as far as the credit, it's the credit history. Credit don't happen overnight. People think that, when you have a long credit history, I have 20 plus years of credit. So to a bank, they're like, oh, he's been paying his bills on time. He don't have no collections. And that's another thing too. Here's the biggest bar. For all the people that, that have the collections or, $50 AT&T bill. I know a lot of people are like, don't pay it. Pay them people.
Yeah. Bar.
You got $75 in collections that's affecting your credit. $500, light bill. Pay them people.
Yeah.
Like,
Facts.
Pay that and get that off of your credit. Because you already spending that money anyway. Pay it off.
You're going to waste $75 in a month.
Yeah.
I don't care
and
who you are.
These are little things that are like affecting people. Like, oh yeah, I got this, I got this thing that's on my credit. Oh, okay. Well, what is it? Because I'll look at people's credit. People ask me like, oh, well, look, I look at their credit. And it's like, a lot of people don't have the credit. They don't have that establishment. They have, let's say, the main thing you need to do first is get a credit card. Mm-hmm. People are scared to use credit cards. The credit card is That's how you build the credit. Or if you have a credit card in, let's say you have a $500 credit limit on it, but you got that card maxed out at 500, 400, it's your utilization is off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People say that the 30%, I say 10%. Because if you in that 10% range, you're under the 30 and you showing the banks that, oh, okay, we can deal with this person.
Yeah. I think that's super key because I feel like a lot of what you just been saying is simple truths. Like, this ain't even like rocket science. It's like, go look at it and go deal with it.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of almost intimidation just because some people have grown up and it's like, I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
I don't know like even where to go look up a thing. But there is a report on you somewhere.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
So like Credit Karma.
Yeah. Which is free. If you don't have a Credit Karma app, everyone, it's free.
You missing out.
Yeah, it's free. It's a free app, Credit Karma. Like, get it. It's
and
free.
what does it do? What does it do for
Credit
you?
Karma, I mean, it shows you your three, it shows your FICO, Experian, and your TransUnion score.
So, slight little history lesson on these. So, you basically got these bureaus, and I think the history, I don't know it all, but basically at some point, they was basically collecting a lot of data on people. And at some point, they was like, oh, we can basically create scores for people so creditors or people that's lending money know how to basically judge a person by this number. And so, over time, there's basically three big bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, that most people use. And then there's different scores. Your main credit score, you got a FICO score, and then you have like all other types of scores. But Credit Karma would be your first step into just
knowing.
Like you can't fix what you don't.
Yeah, you can't. There's a lot of people that, it's like, oh, what's your credit? Man, I don't even know. I just know it's super low. What is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know it. Like, get the Credit Karma app.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, like you said, it's intimidating. When you have a score, a low score, and when you have stuff on your, like, it's intimidating to look at something to show you like, oh man, I got a 400 credit score.
Yeah.
But the reason you have a 400 credit score is because you just don't have no credit. It's not even a bad thing. All of that can be fixed. You know what I mean? Like your credit score can be fixed. You just need to have the proper, training and knowledge on those things to help you raise that score. And, knowing what it is, that's how, now like, oh, okay, I got this on my collections. I got this health bill. This is $100. I got $100 in collection. Pay them folks.
Yeah.
Like pay that off and be done with that chapter of your life, because you got stuff in collections and it's affecting you. Now, there's different techniques. Like there's a lot of credit gurus who, they tell you like, oh yeah, I can fix your credit. I can, this is how much we charge. This is how much we do. Find you somebody who, number one, you really don't need a credit person. You can do it yourself. That's the number one thing. But if you do find somebody, like we have solutions of people that are good people that can get that taken care of. But you have to face it head on. Don't be scared. Don't be scared of knowing what your credit score is.
And that goes for anything.
Yeah, I mean that goes for anything.
Especially for credit.
But especially for credit. Like, because that is the most intimidating thing, looking at a score and saying like, my life is ruined.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
like
then going to just like drink or just
it's just
about
like,
it.
you get frustrated because you don't even know the steps. And it's like the little steps that you have is right literally 3 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
3 months and you back Gucci.
Three months and you and not, it just depends on what you got.
Right.
But
So that's basic credit, like starting point. And you had the good fortune of having good people that help you do that, and you giving people just basic stuff. Know what it is, pay off the small stuff. It's not that hard. Like you brought up deferment earlier. Like deferring is just like being in communication with the person that gave you the bread.
Yeah.
Like, look, I'm not gonna pay you right now, but I'm gonna pay you.
Yeah.
So sometimes people are just you're not communicating, you're not facing it head on. And so, yeah, you got bad because it's like somebody done let you borrow some bread. You ain't never contacted them back. Yeah. You act like you don't remember it.
You ghosted them.
You ghosted them.
Yeah, and now it's affecting you because they know that you took out whatever it was, So now it's face it head on. And if people that are really serious about their credit, they're gonna do the steps to make that thing better.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people get, well, my parents put, this in my name. You talk about stuff that was 30, you're an adult now.
Right.
Like we have to get out of the habit of blaming our parents and stuff that they did, back in the day. Like it comes a time where we got to grow up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They
Like
ain't
we're
still
adults.
wiping your booty.
Yeah,
so.
we're adults. You ran off on that AT&T bill. You owe $125. Pay them people.
Deal with it. And don't try to, like, what I love about what you're saying is don't try to skip, like, these basic steps. Because, yeah, you can go find a credit guru and they can do a bunch of stuff. But if you can fix it yourself by paying $100, $50, if you can go talk to somebody and say, look, how can we handle this?
Yeah.
That's going to be a simple step that you just faced head on, and now it's done.
Yeah.
And now you can move to the bigger step. So that's what I want to ask you. So let's say we got people there. You took it a step further. Now you said, look, I'm going to take my credit and I'm going to actually use it for my benefit. Because we all know Dave Ramsey. We know the people out there that say, you don't need a credit card. You don't need that. You don't need a credit score. And maybe that's for some people. Mm-hmm. But from the entrepreneurial mindset, and that's who we really talk to with these joint sessions. We talking to entrepreneurs, people that's trying to get after it, either are getting after it or they know they want to get after it. Like, talk about how you took that credit and said, okay, I'm going to turn my credit into money maneuvers and plays for myself.
So, for me, so having before I had got the cars, my score, I was at like a 830. My score is at 830. It's crazy. And I didn't even know this, like, because my Credit Karma was showing, that's one thing about Credit Karma. I have all the apps. So I have Experian, I have TransUnion, and I have Credit Karma. So this gives me a wide range of where I'm at. So anything 720, 730 or above, you really golden. You know what I mean? If you get into that realm of that score, you can really make some things shake. Mm-hmm. And this is this is not make believe. This is not cap. No, nothing. Like I leveraged my credit to get the cars. So I got 16 cars in 2.5 weeks. I was literally going to the dealership every day picking up cars.
So basically, give us the estimate dollar figure on that. You took credit, which is this nebulous thing, this number that somebody made up on you based on your history. Mm-hmm. You got that. It's high. And you took that credit number, something that, people don't even fully understand, but you turned it into something that people do understand, which is cars, but put the dollar value on them cars.
So the dollar value was just over $1 million for the 16 cars.
So I want people to hear this. So you basically took your credit and turned it into $1 million in the form of cars.
In the form of cars.
$1 million in the form of cars.
Exactly. So the power of credit, once your credit is right, once your personal credit is right, you can literally, your life can change, literally. And the reason why I say that is I had good credit. So I had credit cards that, I had a $15,000 limit, $20,000 limit, a $5,000 limit, a $10,000 limit, like these different cards where you can have over $100,000 in credit limit. Now, just because you have this credit limit don't mean you have to use it. That's what people get like weary of. They like, oh, I got these credit cards. Like, you don't have to use the credit card.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like I can go apply for cards. I can go apply for 3 or 4 cars today, get one inquiry on that card, but each card gave me, $10,000-$20,000. You done made 50. I got $50,000 of a credit limit. You know what I mean?
Of
access. So, and people just don't understand, like, once you realize that you have this, because essentially that money it's like, here, it's a loan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is a loan, but you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to pay on it until you use it.
Right.
And that's most of the time people don't understand that part of it. They like, oh, I got this, $10,000 credit card. It's like, you're not paying $10,000 on the card until you use it.
Right.
So how I leveraged it, I had my credit. So I put $19,000 down for all of those cars. So I put $19,000 down and I got $1 million worth of cars. What I don't even know another investment that you can put $19,000 down and have $1 million worth of.
No.
What?
Yeah. Anything.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and I did it on the credit card. So literally I only had to put money down on like maybe 4 or 5 cars out of the 16. So it's not like every card I was putting money down. It just depend on what my interest rate was, depend on what the stipulation was with the bank.
So you was able to double lever almost. And when I say leverage, basically what's a good example of leverage? Leverage is when you use something to help you like do something bigger.
Right.
Right? So you was able to take your credit, leverage it to get the cars, but also in some ways where you needed the down payment or the money, you was able to use your credit to put a down payment down. So you double levered.
Exactly. I double leveraged because I didn't even pay out of pocket. So literally I would sign my name. They would say, oh, okay, you need $6,000 now. Okay, here goes my credit card. Now I got that card. I didn't pay no money out of pocket. I used the bank's money that they gave me. So I have these credit card limits. Every time I went to the dealership, if they told me I need to put money down, all right, here goes my credit card. I didn't use a debit card.
Major bar.
I didn't use cash. I literally leveraged my credit, my score, to get these vehicles. And I used it with the credit card. Like, it's just, when people, they're like, oh, I don't care about my credit. Oh, I don't understand credit. It's like, no, you need to understand credit.
Yeah, you're sitting on $1 million with your credit score. If you get it right, you have access to $1 million.
And that was with, you didn't even have to, you did it.
Yeah.
Your score, what was your score when you started?
My score was, I think, 740 with at least one of the bureaus. I think I was
so 740 and out the gate, 17 cars.
Yep. Yeah.
So
I had 23. I think I had 23 or 24 when I first did it. I just ran it up.
Yeah.
So I think, but some of my cars were older, so I think I got to maybe 850,000 worth of cars.
Yeah.
So again, use my credit to get $850,000 in the form of cars. And like, this is what's important about that, because people are like, oh, well, I didn't get the 850 just in cash. But what you have to understand about business in general is that business is all about things moving and shaking. Like, I don't need just to have 850 sitting with me.
Right.
I'd rather have it in the form of a vehicle.
Yeah.
That moves, that I can do stuff with, that I can make the world work with, right?
Yeah.
That money just being in the form of money is not as powerful as money being in the form of something else that can then generate more money.
And that, so the biggest play is you are able to turn a liability into an asset.
Yeah.
Cars are horrible investments.
Yeah.
I don't care how you look at it. So it's like, these rappers like, oh, I paid $350 for this Rolls Royce. All right.
Wasted money.
How much is the lease? Sign me up. Because I'm not going to cash you out $350,000. I will use this $350 to do something else.
Right.
You know what I mean? But people don't understand that. It's like, especially millionaires. It's like, all right, you got your credit got to be out the roof because you have money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm not going to go pay cash for this when I can leverage my credit and have a note. Now, but this goes back to turning a liability into an asset.
Yep.
That's the biggest play, because now I have turned a car that, let's say my car payment is $1,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm charging $200, $250 a day for that vehicle. So 4 days out of the month, $250, let's just say $250, 4 days, I make the car note an extra, 5 days pays for the car note and the insurance. Yep. So now I got 25 more days to profit. And that's just on one car. So taking that and, okay, this car, I already know. It was to the point where I didn't even care what I was paying for the car.
Yeah. Because
all I did was break down the numbers of what I could make renting them out. You know what I mean? And when I got the cars, all the cars were high. Like, just a couple, the market was crazy just a couple, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah. Market's been nuts on cars. Like, it's been a slow demand on vehicles.
Yeah.
So knowing that, it's like, okay, let me leverage this now. And because we had the chance to just do, and this is the thing about credit, this is the thing about Turo in general. If you want to, I tell anybody, if you have a car that's just sitting, you need to be putting it on Turo. Because most people, they go to work, they come back home, and the car sits. That's majority of the time. That's right. How it goes with the car.
Yeah, that's how you're not even, before, we never even thought, again, this is technology, again, things change every day. Are you attuned to it? Are you staying up to date? We never thought about using our cars to make bread in that way. Yeah. Then Uber came along. It's like, my car can do a service. But now they've come out with another app that allows you to get customers. Turo, I can take this car, share it with somebody that I'm not fully utilizing. The car is underutilized.
Yes, underutilized.
It's sitting.
It's no different. Turo, and for people who don't even know what Turo is a platform just like Airbnb. So it's Airbnb for cars.
Yep. And people don't know about it yet.
And people still don't know about it. That's when you know something is like, you need to get into it.
Yes.
You don't have to have 20, you don't have to do what we did. We did this because of the scalability of it and leveraging our credit. Like I said, I put $19,000 down and got $1 million worth of cars.
Who does not want access to that type of capital?
And on top of that, if things get rough, to the point, I mean, there's been times where I'm like, I can skin down some of the cars. So let's say I got a car that's not operating well, I can sell it. You know what I mean? Now, not only is that making my credit go up, but now it's showing the banks like, okay, he done, even if it hits the fan, I got all these cars here, I'm gonna just sell them all.
Yep.
That, taking that $1 million off of my credit, showing that that's paid off, like now.
You've been entrusted with $1 million. And you did right by it.
You didn't run off. You didn't default on the loan. You paid it off, and you will get rewarded heavily. And because that's how I looked at it. I'm like, we're millionaires now.
Yeah.
Not by the, you know what I mean?
Value.
By the book value. Now we have become, but now it's not, I don't need to have that full $1 million. All I need to do is be cash flowing.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Like, you don't even need the $1 million to hold and look at. See, a lot of people don't want money. Yeah. They want to spend money.
Right.
They like the idea of spending it. Yeah. They don't like the idea of managing it, having it.
Right.
Having money, again, like I said, you never want money sitting.
Yeah. No.
That is actually the worst thing for money to be doing is sitting. Money is for transactions.
Yeah.
So the more it's moving, the more it's cash flowing, the more it's doing what it's supposed to do. If it's sitting and you got it hidden under a mattress somewhere, it's losing value because of inflation.
Yep.
Stuff is getting higher and higher and higher, so your money's becoming less and less valuable. So you have to keep your money moving to keep it growing, to keep it keeping up with inflation and making more than inflation. Come on. So like
there's power in credit. And everyone needs to really understand that. Like I think we was on the live and we were talking, and I was saying that, you know, they had asked me something like, if you get rock bottom, what do you do if you hit rock bottom? You remember that guy? He said that, and I'm like, you'll never hit rock bottom when you have good credit.
Right. Yep.
And like, it doesn't matter. I don't care if everything started today. If I have a 750 credit score, I can figure something out.
Yep.
And that's just the fact about it. Now, if I have a 400 credit score and I hit rock bottom, it's going to be tough.
Yep.
But when you have good credit, like I said, you can go open up a credit card, use them credit cards, and you can literally, that $10,000 car I had, if I would have bought a cash car, that's my cash. Now I done swiped a whole vehicle on my credit card.
Yeah.
If I have a $15,000 limit and I got two cars, like, oh, let me get these $6,500 cars.
Yep.
I can buy two cars. Now I'm generating, not only are the cars paid off, you know what I mean? Like you're paying the money back now, especially if you get you a 0 interest card for 12 months. We're not even talking about that. You
Free
get a
money.
card. Most of these cars, when you open the car up, look on there and see what that introductory rate is.
Yeah.
If that joint is 0% to 12 to 18 months,
congratulations. It's time to play ball.
now you cooking, because now you can go leverage that car. You can go you can put money down on real estate. You can get you an Airbnb.
Yeah.
You can furnish a whole Airbnb. You can swipe and get inside of the Airbnb and start these are things that you would not be able to do if you didn't have credit.
And so that's why we wanted to bring up credit as the number one play. Because if you need a money play, a lot of the money is going to come from you having good credit. Mm-hmm. And what you think is impossible credit to fix is really not. What we talked about earlier is just something you need to address head on. And I wanted to say this. Most businesses, like I love Dave Ramsey. If you need to learn about, I'm sure he's got bread. He's got more bread than me. I'm sure he knows a lot more than me on a lot of things. But if you are looking at our world economy, if you're looking at all the major companies in the world, 90% of them have debt. Mm-hmm. 90% of them will have, I'm talking about your Walmarts, your AT&Ts, 90% of them have debt on their books that is crazy amounts, like $5 billion worth of debt. Why? Because it's part of the economy. Like you're supposed to use debt.
Yeah.
You're supposed to use money. You're supposed to leverage it.
There's it's a thing called good debt and bad debt.
Right. And if you using debt to make more money, that's good debt.
Yeah, people, like, oh, I want to be. No one's successful. Dave, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, because Dave is, I love Dave. I love his techniques, but there's certain things that I just don't agree with him on, especially being
an entrepreneur.
Yeah, especially being an entrepreneur. It's like, oh, don't use no credit cards. It's like, bro, I just got $1 million worth of cars with credit cards.
Right. I'm not listening to you.
Yeah, I'm not
on
listening to that because in the average person, if you don't have any credit cards or you don't have, it's going to be hard for you to get stuff because they're going to go look at, because Dave's like, oh, I have a 0 credit score. Like, bro, that works for you because, you have millions of dollars.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's not working for the average American.
Yeah, and if you don't want to do nothing, if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be very safe, if you want to sit back and just, go to your job, watch TV, I think what Dave is teaching is good for you. But if you want to be entrepreneurial, debt gives you a number one thing, credit cards, which we would call debt. We just got to rewire how we think about it. Gives you what? Access to capital. What have you always heard? It takes money to make money.
Yeah.
And if you need some money, get your credit score right, and now you have access to the money that you've been waiting for to do the thing you've been trying to do.
Yep. And a lot of people I get this a lot when I'm talking to people. They're like, man, if I just had a dollar amount, it's like, all right, bro, well, what's your credit like? Ah, man, I've got like a It's like, bro, fix yourself. Like, don't even worry. Like, the money is there.
Yeah.
You gonna have access. There's too many banks. There's thousands of banks
begging to give it to you.
and they want to give you the money, but you have to show and prove yourself to these banks, to these
you got to play their
establishments.
game.
But when people's like, oh man, I want to open up it's like, bro, when you ask someone, if someone says they need some funding and the credit ain't together, fix your credit. I'm telling you, I'm a living, walking testimony that if your credit is right, it can literally change your life.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest part that people got to understand. The funding that you need for whatever that business is, if your credit is right, you can get it. And we're not even talking about business credit. Right. We're talking about personal right now.
About personal right
business is a whole nother beast, which we're gonna tap into that. But your personal credit, if your personal credit is good and you start a business, you open up an LLC and start a business and you got 2 years of tax returns, you're going to be able to literally turn up. And when I say turn up, whatever that thing is that you want to do, you'll be able to do it.
Absolutely.
You'll be able to do it because now you're personal and you don't want stuff in your personal name. You want to have a clean slate on your personal because now you can put everything in the business. Yeah. Once everything is in the business, now you're getting that, that credit with the business. You're going to get 10 times more money than you are with personal.
Yeah.
With having the business credit.
And I'm going to tell you, like, you're going to see stuff online. If you follow entrepreneurship online, you're going to see stuff about business credit and you're going to see stuff about the bigger plays. And you're going to see stuff about, there's all type of bigger plays. But what I want some of you guys that are listening to us to focus on is if you would just do the small things, you could get to the next bigger play. Like some people are trying to automatically jump and open up their trust and open up do the insurance play and how you can do life insurance. Like that's fine. Those are good plays. But some of y'all need to start at square one and do some of the basic stuff right and then jump to the next level and then do the next jump. So I want to give y'all another play. So that's the credit play. One thing with the credit play is the Turo card. So let's just go through that really quickly. If you don't want 20 cars, it's fine. You should not, if you have a dream car, if you want a car, if you don't want to pay for a car, if you can emotionally disconnect from a car only being yours, if you can do those three things, then you need to hop on the Turo platform. Start with one car, do it for about a month, get a feel for it. Use it as a guest. Next time you're going out of town, hop on it as a guest, use it as a guest. You get a feel for the guest side and the host side of the platform. Start with you a cheap car, something that either your own car that you already paying for, or if you, or a car that's under $10,000 that you can find. Turo lets you list cars up to 120,000 miles. So you can get some cheap cars out there. You put it on your platform in your market, start to see how your market is. You might say, man, I'm in a small market. Ain't really nothing happening in my market. And that's fine. It just means you're a bit early. So you don't need to jump and do 20, but you can be the first one in your market. And you might have to do other things to let people know, because the only reason you're not getting guests, the only reason you're not getting guests is not because people are afraid of using Turo. It's already been proven that people use Turo. People are willing to use something else besides what they know. Mm-hmm. So that's not the issue. People are already showing, I'm willing to do something else.
Yeah.
The only thing they need to know is to know about it.
Right.
So it's probably in your small town or in your part of the country where Turo's not popping yet. It's only because people don't know about it. You think about Airbnb 10, 15 years ago. It's like, oh, that's a cool little thing. Mm-hmm. It keeps growing. You go to a small rinky-dink town now, you're going to see they got an Airbnb there.
And it's so crazy.
You're on the front end.
Yeah. It's so crazy because people didn't even, when they heard of Airbnb, like, oh, renting out my personal home.
Yeah. It's
like,
a mind shift.
No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, this thing is growing so crazy. You're getting a full house, kitchen, multiple rooms, and you're paying, a little bit more than what you would be paying for a hotel.
Right, and getting a ton more.
You know what I mean?
The value is crazy.
That was a game changer. So when Turo comes around, people have homes that they are not using. People have cars that they're not using. utilize it.
Try it.
And it's so crazy because before, we were like, we have crazy whips. Like, I don't even have a dream car no more.
Yeah.
Because
cars mean nothing to me now.
And once you are able to detach yourself to the vehicle, because that's most people are like, this is my baby. It's like, this ain't for you then.
Your baby's keeping you broke.
Yeah. This is not for you then, because I don't have an attachment to the vehicles, and that's to be in this business. You can't have an attachment to the vehicles.
No,
you can't. It can't be like, I don't want people, or what if people? It's like, this is not it. You're doing this to generate cash flow.
Yeah.
And to have the note pay for itself. So if I wanted a Urus or some fancy car, okay, I might have a $3,000, $3,500 car payment, but I can make $1,500 a day on that vehicle.
And so some people are going to think about what's the scariest, what's the worst thing that can happen? Worst thing that can happen is somebody could crash your car.
Yeah.
But there are options with the platform where you can say, look, I'm going to take a small percentage. I'm going to give y'all most of the percentage. And if something happens in my car, y'all take care of it. So that's one thing. Mm-hmm. The second thing is you're like, who do I want to share my car with?
Right.
This is a hack. On the platform, if you're new and you're scared, don't share your car with people that have no stars and no history. Mm-hmm. Only share with people that have 5 stars and trip history.
Yeah.
And that will kind of overcome that sort of like trepidation of, okay, who do I share with? Because there is bad people that you don't want driving your car.
Yeah.
But if you got those two things, then you're protected. The worst thing that can happen, the car gets totaled, you get paid out, life moves on, and you've learned something, and you've tried something, and you've tried to run a play to change your lot in life. This is what this is about. This is about money maneuvers.
Yeah, for
This
sure.
is not for people that's sitting around and like, do. No, this is for people that want to make moves. Yeah. This is a move you can make today. We're telling you that it works. Yeah. We've done it. I'm telling you how to start. Don't start with 20, start with 1. Do those things, and you can literally run that play today. And there's 1,000 guys online right now that you can learn from, in addition to what I'm saying, and say, okay, this is how I could do Turo.
Yep.
And including us. You can reach out to us. We can help you through it. We're developing some programs right now that we can put people into, but you don't even need the program if you really got to get up and go. I suggest it if you really want to grow, but just you don't need what we say the other day when we was talking about mindset. 80% is all you need to start. You don't need to have 100% of everything figured out to start.
Yeah.
Get 80% of the way and go.
Yeah.
Because extra 20.
Yeah. You're going to figure it out.
You're going to figure out. But if you're waiting to figure out the extra 20, you're going to wait months.
Yeah.
And the opportunity is going to become less and less.
Yeah, it's going to be done. And the biggest part about this is you're taking away one less expense. So that car that's sitting in your garage that's not making you no money, you really don't even like paying the car payment, put that thing on Turo.
Yeah.
Like, because now you've turned, like I said, the biggest play about this is turning liability. Cars are a liability. So how do I turn this liability into an asset? Rent it out to people.
Yep.
It's not even a rocket science thing. It's like, my car note's $300. Okay, and especially for these $300-$400 cars, these economy cars, you in a whole nother. I mean, you can mess around and make $1,500, $1,000, $1,100, $1,200 off of these economy cars.
Yeah,
and that's you having a $200-$300 car note. Now that's an extra $1,000 in your family household. Who don't want that?
You gotta be willing to make.
You know what I mean? But you have to be willing to step into that and say, okay, yeah, I really want to do this. Now you're learning. Now you're turning something into cash flow.
Yeah.
That was once costing you money. Now you're making money, and it's what that does is like, oh man, I need another one of these, because that's what happens.
Right.
When you see money coming in, it's like, how did I just like? Wait, this
It's a
car just
play.
made me $1,200, $1,500 a month profit?
Right.
Oh yeah, I need another one of these. It's no different than starting another business. It's like, okay, I got a barbershop. You know, I started a barbershop. You see what your booth rents are making. It's like, oh, I need another one.
Yeah.
Because you're not really going to be able to turn up unless you scale.
Unless you scale up.
But you don't have to.
You don't have to.
And
It's not for everybody.
it's literally one of those things like you can do this to the max, or you can have 2 or 3 cars that's, you know, bringing in $3,000 a month.
And that's why we spent so much time on mindset earlier, because only you
Yeah.
know what you need to do for you.
Yep.
Like, you can't look at nobody else and be like, oh, I want to, because you don't know what headaches is coming with that, and you don't know what wins is coming with that, but you have to know what's right for you, and your mindset is key first. So we talked about the credit play, we talked about the Turo play briefly, and Steve, talk to him about real estate flips. You did a big flip recently. Give them the quick highlights on a real estate play.
So, I'm from Indianapolis, so that's where we started. So I did, you know, my first one was special for me because I wanted to do it with my parents. So I told them, I'm like, let's get a crib, you know, let's flip it and just keep this thing going. Cause I wanted that to rub off on them so they can see like what that feel. And I mean, us together, but I wanted it to do it with them first.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It was different. I could have did it by myself, but it was like, nah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it with my parents.
You could have did it with me, and I'm still mad about it.
But yeah, I mean, we, you know, you maybe you threw me off.
No, that's big. The parents play is
Yeah,
huge.
yeah. So to do that with my parents, it was just it was something that, you know, I just wanted to do. It was like that was something big for me. You know what I mean?
That's a bar in and of itself. Like, a lot of y'all have parents that have the credit but don't have the mindset.
Yeah.
If you can bring the mindset to the parents and you can show them a play, that's your first business partners.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where we started. So now, you know, going into something that, you know, was our first thing, it was a headache. So we basically got a duplex. The duplex was $90,000. It was completely trap houses, run down. And
Talk about that. Like, how was you able to see past the fact that this was a rundown, dirty, walls falling off, dust, cobwebs, wood boards crackling and smackling,
I mean,
ugly yard. How did you look past that?
It's one thing when you know you have something that's like, I look at real estate like getting a haircut. It's like, let's just imagine like I ain't had a haircut in, you know, 2-3 years. I'm just rough.
Yeah.
But I know once I get that cut, once that barber put that thing on me and crisp me up, I'm back.
I'm crispy.
I'm back. And now my stock done went up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I look at real estate. I
him.
look at real estate the same way. So it's definitely intimidating. We were over our head on this first. The crib was 30. It was a duplex. So we turned the duplex into a single family. It was 30. It was like almost 3,900 square feet. So we talking about a big crib in an area where they're gentrifying, right? So got the crib for $90,000. We started rehabbing, had a problem with the contractor, which is finding a good contractor is the biggest, like, the work when it comes to these houses is so important because you can be paying so much more money than you know, you know what I mean? And not be getting the right work. So finding good workers is, you know, you have to find a good contractor. That's just part of flipping. So, you know, it was definitely scary and intimidating, but it's like, I can already see what this can turn into.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's ugly right now. Them is the best houses to, once you got a house that's run down, you know you can make it beautiful.
Pure opportunity.
So and that's what it was. And on top of that, it's like, oh yeah, got it for 90. Them houses over there are selling for like 350, 375. So once you do the numbers and do the spread, like, oh, okay, we got it for 90. We're going to put 150 in it. You just do the math after that.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, when we did this, the pandemic, we're in the pandemic, price of wood, materials, everything was up. So, it might be, originally $15,000 to build a garage. Now it's double. You know what I mean? So now all of that is just chopping down at your profit. You know what I mean? Yeah. So just seeing that, it's like, hey, are we still going to come out? We ended up, and this was just, it was perfect timing. This was like a 15, 16 month project. And mind you, this was, having a contractor messing it up. It would have been we would have saved a whole bunch of money.
How long did you expect it to take originally?
It was supposed to take only 5 months, 6 months. That was 15. That was the original. But then, everything started happening.
But that's a bar. That's a bar because sometimes the thing you go to do when you venture into something new, it might take longer than what you expect.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
We were just talking about it earlier with bro. It's like you've got to continue to figure it out. Yeah, it didn't happen in 3 months.
Right.
It didn't happen. It's just like a dating or something like that. Or like you said the other day, going for a relationship. It may not happen exactly how you want it in the first 2 weeks. I hate when people had them expectations like, I thought it was going to be like this in 2 weeks. Come on.
Yeah, see, and
give it time.
Yeah, and it's it's one of those things where it's just not it's not reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like things just happen and that's the difference between being an entrepreneur and having that thick layer of skin, because you're going to go through stuff and it can either make you or it can break you. You know what I mean? But I've already have been in other investments. I've already lost money. So for me, this was nothing. This was like, of course I'm like, I don't want it to take this long because we paying on, the loan, we paying on doing all of this stuff. So, you're doing extra stuff, but it's like at the end of the day, if you turn in a profit, because there's people who flip their first house and they lose. You know what I mean? That happens. I know people, for my close people, they first one, they like, bro, if you even make $10,000 on this play. And I wasn't happy with that.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, that ain't gonna be able to go.
That math ain't math.
Yeah, that math ain't mathing. And my biggest thing was I didn't want my parents to feel that. Mm-hmm. So it was like, oh, okay, now we just splitting $5,000.
Right.
This ain't worth it for them or me.
Right.
Now, mind you, we got to the point where we were just so frustrated with it. It was just like, let's just hurry up and get done with it so we can move on to the next one. Fast forward, we finished the house. The house is crazy. We get it staged.
You got to see the pictures. The pictures.
Yeah,
bonkers.
we'll maybe we can do like something with that to show it. But the house was just crazy. So like literally, it was on the market for 8 days. We originally was trying to sell it for like $375. Like some of the agents was like, no, we could probably only get like $350, $375. Now, mind you, we done had put more money in. So now it's like, oh, well, no, we're not going to take no loss. If anything, we're going to, Airbnb this joint, rent it out, you know what I mean? Maybe refinance, and that was just going to be the play. A house, 8 days, we put it on the market for 8 days. A house, a new development, it hadn't even been developed yet. Popped up on the market for what was it? It was like 500,000. Sold. It wasn't even built. So agent calls me like, bro, you might, because I told him, I was like, no, we not selling it. We gonna push for the higher amount. Man, that thing came back like, bro, we going in at 530. Like, all right, say less. See what they say. So they countered and now mind you, we were gonna take 500. So we countered, it was 530. It was like, oh, okay, whatever. They countered back like at 510 or something. He was like, yeah, sign this up. So not only did we do a house that was in a gentrified area, but we set the tone for flips. So now people calling like everybody that's on that street like, oh, y'all just got 500 for that crib?
Yeah.
Put mine up on the market.
Yeah.
So for that, and I say all that to say that was the first one. So that was like, oh, we went, now mind you, we went big. I would never tell nobody to start with no 38, 4,000. It's always crazy too, because it's like, we get into stuff and it's like, go big or go home. That's always just been my.
Yeah, we different.
Yeah, it's just like it's like go big or go bigger. Like, you know what I mean? That's and it's crazy, but it's like when you built for that and you see other people. That's the thing. It's like you have to have the confidence to know that you can do these things too. A lot of people think that like, oh yeah, I see Jason over there doing it, but I can't do that.
Right.
It's like, bro, yes you can. You got to just have the confidence that you can do it.
You got to get close enough to the confidence, because the confidence is contagious if you get close enough to it.
Facts.
If you dealing closely with the people that's confident, all of a sudden confidence going to start rubbing off on you, and you're like, oh, I can flip houses. My homie just flipped a house.
Yeah.
Why could I not do what my homie did?
And the learning process. Now, if you say, oh, bro, how did you do that? Now I already have all the knowledge. So as soon as we sold that crib, we bought a lot and bought another house. So now it's just a snowball effect of I don't even want that money back. This is going to just pile into now it's tough when it's like, can I dip into that? But it's like, no, you let that roll into the next thing, because once that happens, now you're going to look up and it's going to be like, man, now we doing cool. Now we got $1 million in real estate. And on top of that, I'm doing it with my parents. Ain't no better. Like I have people call me like, bro, what's up? I'm like, yeah, we might be able to do that on this next one. But this one, I got to do this. Like that was a pride thing for me.
That's love.
You know what I mean? And I told my parents,
Legacy.
I'm like, this is,
Legacy.
is for us. You know what I mean? Like, because I want them to feel that same thing. And now it's so crazy because, the older generation, all they know is work. They just know, I don't know how old, people's parents is, but y'all can probably attest to this, is all they know is work. So it's like, to really expose them to like this bigger picture, this bigger bag. You know what I mean? Like we going to the closing table with jeans and a t-shirt and a dad hat on, closing a $500,000 deal.
Out the gate.
That was
$500,000.
different. Like that changed my perspective on it. It just, number one, it changed my perspective on real estate, because it's like I done a lot of adventures.
Yeah.
had a lot of business ventures, and ain't nothing gave me no return like that. You know what I mean? So that right there was, and I seen it on my pops. I'm in closing, you know what I mean? My mom was out of town, but me and my pops was in there. Like to see that was like, yeah, this is what we did this for. You know what I mean? That made me feel good, because now that turned the switch on to them like, oh yeah, we need to go get another one.
Yeah.
And now it's like, and that's all it takes. It just takes for you to start. And that's why it's always just start.
Just start.
It don't matter what it is, just start. Put them feet together and take that first step.
Get going. So look, that's the third money play. We done taught you about credit. We taught you about Turo. We taught you about flips, and when it comes to real estate. Fourth play is a job. Mm-hmm. A job don't have to be a negative thing. We entrepreneurs. Steve is 100% entrepreneur. I'm still 50-50. I work and an entrepreneur on the side, or I work on the side and I entrepreneur, however you want to look at it. But the job itself, you got to stop thinking of a job as a bad thing. I know a lot of gurus out there say work ain't going to teach you nothing. School ain't going to teach you nothing. Da-da-da-da. And for some people, that is true. They're not going to pay you what you're worth. Da-da-da-da. And for some people, that is true. But you've got to figure out how to look at the job as a play. A job is a play. A job is a partner and an investor in your situation if you gonna run the job play. So here's the job play. One, you need to be at a job where you're learning something, or you can leverage something that they're doing or that they know. For example, you at McDonald's. It's like this, most common job. A lot of people's first job, at least when we was coming up. So what is McDonald's doing? How are they treating customers? What are their processes? How are they flowing? How is the money being made? Where is it being kept? You need to be extracting knowledge about the job and the business that you're in, taking that knowledge and saying, how do I apply this to what I'm doing? So your job is not just your job and what you're working at. You don't just sit at your thing. You need to be stepping back and saying, how do the things connect? And how are they generating money? How are they, creating value in this industry or this space? That's one important thing with your job play. Don't look at it as a job. Think of it as a training camp for you to learn from another business partner. You get an inside look at somebody else doing business. So the second play with your job, I learned this from my rich cousin, is you're getting paid from your job. You likely have, in some level, shape, form, or fashion, you likely have some sort of retirement plan. You need to be maxing out the contribution on that retirement plan. So you might have heard it as like a 401k or something like that. So the government allows you the same for everybody, whether you make $1 million or whether you make $50,000 a year. The government allows you to put a maximum amount of money into this retirement plan. You, as an employee, you need to be maxing that out. So if they say you can put $19,000 in it, you need to be, every check, you need to cut it down so you can max out what you can put in that 401k. Why? Because you're going to take that money eventually and do two things. One, it's going to grow for you. So it's going to be like a pile of money sitting over here that you don't even think about anymore. And it's going to grow. So just for example, I did this for maybe 2 years. I think my cousin taught me about this in 2016. I did it for 2 years. I probably had like $13,000 sitting away in an account because I wasn't maxing it out. By the time I had finished maxing out, I think it's like 2018, I think I like 2 years, maybe 3. I had like $125,000 in that account. And it's like, what? When did I get $125,000? I don't even remember it. Mm-hmm. But it's just sitting in an account simply because I've been maxing out my contribution in this account. I'm not even thinking, because you're going to waste that amount of money anyway. Mm-hmm. So just put it away. And then here's the third play with it. Eventually, you can leverage that money so you can borrow against yourself. You can be your own bank. So if you get to 100 over there, you can take out 50,000 and loan it to yourself. Mm-hmm. Pay yourself back with interest, and then take that money and basically do anything you want to do with it.
Real estate.
What did I do with that? Real estate is a play. What did I do with it? I end up clearing up all my debt, jumped my credit score up, and got into the Turo play. Mm-hmm. That's how I use that. So your job is a play. Mm-hmm. It can be an investor. It can be a move for you. There's many other things you can do with your job. But look, a lot of what people are saying is, I'm not going to say it's all cap because some of it is true. People are not going to pay you what you're worth, but it's up to you to get your worth, the value out of the thing that you're in.
Yeah.
You can't wait for nobody else.
Nah, let me hop in on that because, we're taught to work. And the biggest part of this is when you do have this job, learn the systems, whatever that job is doing. So for example, when I worked at Enterprise, and it's crazy because now I'm in transportation. So I worked for Enterprise. I was working, but I was really learning their system. Like, how are they able to, because they hired me in a recession. Like, they didn't have no recession.
Right.
They was still hiring. People were still renting cars.
And actually pay attention to that. Pay attention to people that's hiring in a recession.
In a recession, exactly. Because at this time, and they're hiring people because they know all the college people coming out, there ain't no jobs. But we can pay you this $11.88. You know what I mean? We're gonna give you the hours. The pay is low, but you have a job. And you're working for, this is $1 billion, situation. So learning like I was literally studying that, like, how are they able? So now full circle, I have a fleet. And it's like, what did I learn from enterprise? Like, how are they checking in these cars? How are they doing this and that? Like, when you take the knowledge from something that, and I was miserable there, you know what I mean? But learning the systems, learning at your job. So if you're miserable at your job, learn them systems. Figure out how to make your exit strategy where it's like, oh, okay, if you are working for a hair salon and it's like, oh, let me figure out how they doing this so I can open my own hair salon. Like, people just get comfortable in that job. It's like, no, you need to really be learning their systems and figuring, like, how can I manipulate this into my own thing?
Absolutely.
Because these corporations are proven corporations.
Yeah, they showing you it's money to be made in the thing that they doing.
And why not mimic something that's working already?
Exactly.
Now you take the guessing out of, oh, does this work? Yes, rental cars work because people are renting cars every day. People wreck their cars every day. And what do when they get a wrecked car? They get into a rental.
Yep.
And that just goes back into transportation. Transportation, hospitality, food. These are your three biggest, you know what I mean, necessities when it comes to living.
Yeah.
You need food, you need shelter, you need transportation. Let's tap into these things and really start building wealth with turning liabilities into assets.
And the crazy thing, I'm done with the job play. That's it. We can give you more on it, but that's it. But one other little bonus for the job play is if you have a job and you're doing Turo, you can make money whether your Turo is making money or losing money. You can make money whether you're making money or losing money. Mm-hmm. Why? Real quick, your job takes out taxes. They only take out taxes because they think you're just an employee. They don't know that you're also a business owner. So when it comes to the end of the year and it's like, oh, you tell the IRS, hold up, y'all took out a bunch of money from me, but I was actually putting a lot of my money over here into this business. They got to say, oh, we like businesses. We want people to do business. Our bad. Let's give you some of that money back because we thought you was just an employee. But no, you're actually helping our economy grow, so we're going to refund you a lot of that stuff you was using for business. That's the bonus play. Mm-hmm. Fifth, final thing, we got to go. We in Vegas, y'all. We got other appointments to get to. But Steve, talk to him about the play, the arbitrage with the Airbnb. Talk to him about that play. Just talk to him about it.
Man, listen. Right now, the short-term rental game is crazy. And there's two reasons why. We talked about it, earlier. People need housing. And now it's to the point where you can literally turn a crib into a cash flowing cow. And a lot of people don't understand the layout of it because it's this gray area. So LA, we have a lot of regulations for Airbnb. So you have to have you have to register a home sharing. You have to get permission from the landlord, that you can home share their place. But there's so many platforms that you can use.
What's that other one?
It's Airbnb, bookings.com, Verbo, and HomeAway.
Uh-huh.
So it's because a lot of people, and it's no different with the Turo. It's like Turo is a platform, but you eventually want to get to the point where you can, if Turo or Airbnb were to shut down, what happens? You are either at the whim of that platform or you can build your own thing. So when that does happen, you still have the clients, you still have everything still generating because you've kept this log of emails, contact numbers of, guests that you've already had. And so just for like my cars and my my rental properties, I have a site where both of those are housed. Mm-hmm. So if I get any repeat customers or whatever, here, go to the site and you can book directly. Because if something happens with, like I said, Turo or Airbnb, you're covered. People still can find you. Now you have a website that people can directly go to book, your your cars or your vacation
service.
homes.
Yeah, your service. And
so and it's on top of that is taking out the middleman.
Yep.
Because the middleman is taking these fees that if you had your own situation, now you don't have to worry about that. You are the plug.
And let's take it to another even level, just because Turo and Airbnb are showing you that an economy exists for this. What do I mean? There is a demand for it, and so there needs to be a supply for it. There is a demand for a short-term rental. Mm-hmm. So there needs to be a supply for short-term rental. Airbnb capitalized on that in a big way. Mm-hmm. But if there's a demand for it, that means people are probably demanding it on it. Airbnb don't have 100% of the demand.
Yeah.
Some people looking for short-term rentals and they don't even know Airbnb is a place to go.
Right.
Or they can't get on Airbnb. They might want to go through Craigslist or an ad in the paper. There is so many ways for you to supply the demand. Mm-hmm. The thing that we have to see is that, if there's a whole big business around this, that means there's an economy, an exchange of services going on for this type thing.
Yeah.
And I can get in on it, whether I do it through my own private website, whether I do it through the platforms, which we suggest because they do help you with a lot of things, mm-hmm. or if I do it in some other small type way.
Yeah. Yep. And when you're getting started, like there's nothing wrong with using a platform. Like I encourage people to use the platform because now you know how it works.
Yeah.
You know once you use the platform, you know how it works. Like there's no more guessing game out of it. Like get that experience with the platform, so then you can realize on your own, like, oh, okay, I got private clients that come in. Like there's a lot of like Turo people, like repeat customers. They come in town like, oh yeah, I need a car. All right, we're gonna do this. This is a private deal now.
Yeah,
we're taking them directly off of Turo, and we're putting all of that money into our pockets.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But you never would have met them people if you weren't on the platform.
Exactly.
You know what I mean. So I never tell people like, oh yeah, totally. Keep gaining the customers, but keep that log, keep that information, keep those contacts. So when something do hit the fan and you don't have these platforms to rely on no more, you still have the contacts to be able to run your business.
Absolutely. So look, we want to give you the plays that you can make. You do not have to be idle. You do not have to be sitting on your thumbs and trying to figure out what to do. There are plays after plays after plays out here that can be ran, and you can be taught. Mm-hmm. We learn from somebody with the Turo.
Yeah.
We've learned over time from different individuals for a variety of things. So we've never been afraid to learn, but at the same time, we've also never been afraid to do. So you got to have that right mix of I'm ready to do and I'm ready to learn at the same time. And if you want to learn with us, we got some programs and information coming out. But the first thing we're doing is giving y'all this free game. This is on our YouTube channels, on where you can connect with us at, so you can get this free game on how to run plays to change your lot in life.
To change your life, to change your family's life, and to build wealth. Because that's what it's all about. It's how can I generate generational wealth?
You got the baton now. The baton is with you. Run that thing. Yeah. Your parents ran it. They did what they could do.
Yep.
Look, a lot of us is in our, a lot of our audience is in our 20s, 30s, 40s. It's up. We're up.
Yeah.
We're the next people up. You're not even looking to your parents. Your parents' best years, earning years, for a lot of people is over.
Yeah.
You're up now.
Yeah.
You're the one that's supposed to be doing something for the fam. So take that baton and run with it. Hit them with the final words, Steve.
Man, get started. Get started. Work on yourself first, because that's you can't do nothing without that self-awareness and that self-help. Like, get that credit together. Don't be scared to face that thing head on. And once you do that and you learn the power of leveraging your credit, your life will change forever. And it's a proven fact that these things can literally, it can happen. It's not going to happen overnight, but if you continue to stall and wait, it's going to be a long time. So get on it now so you don't have to wait another 2 years and be in the same position. You can literally set yourself up right now. So when 2023, 2024 comes around, you're ready to go and you're ready to turn things up to the max, because at the end of the day, no one wants to stay in a complacent state.
Yeah.
And if you do, that's on you. You can't blame nobody for, you stalling and not jumping on opportunities when they come. When an opportunity comes, jump on it. Take that risk. No one that's successful has ever been successful without taking a risk.
The opportunity train is going and flowing, and it's stopping in your neighborhood.
Yep.
You getting the info that you need to make the moves. You just got to hop on the train. Hop on the opportunity train.
For sure. And don't be afraid to ask for help.
It's the best thing you can do. Have the humility. Nobody's expecting you to know everything. So stop acting like you know everything.
Yeah.
When you don't know, just be real. I don't know that.
How.
How did you do that?
How did you? Because the minute that you think that you know everything, that's when you get burnt. Because it's like, oh yeah, I know how to do this, or I can figure it out. But no, it's like, get the proper help and then execute.
That's probably the number one thing you need to stop saying too. Is I know that. Mm-hmm. Don't even tell. If you know it, who cares? Let people give you the information, because you might know it, but you may not know it from their perspective.
Yeah.
So if you just stop and listen and say, oh, okay, thanks. Instead of saying, I know that, be an open vessel, ready to receive information that's coming so you can leverage it. Mm-hmm. Instead of thinking that you need to know everything, or that it's some type of knock on yourself if you don't know it. No, it's okay. Yeah, nobody's mad.
It's okay. It's okay not to have to know the knowledge, because that's the whole point of being a student. Because when you're an entrepreneur, you're constantly
constant student.
A student. You're constantly learning. Like, it's impossible for you to master that. It's impossible. But everything's possible.
Exactly. If you keep going.
Yep.
That's it, man. We did it.
For sure.
We out here, the joint session. We hope that helped you. That's at least 5 money plays we've given you to help you get from where you are to where you want to go. Remember that, it's not sometimes, what you know, it's who you know. Mm-hmm. And it's also not necessarily what you think you know, but it's what you can learn if you remain a student. Keep growing, keep learning, keep doing your thing. You're going to get there. We're going to help you. StephenMotivate, Dream Big University.
We out. Peace.
We out. Peace.
Get started right now, today. Peace.
I'm thinking them wealthy thoughts, baby.